No matter what state it is, there's consensus that there needs to be more support for mothers to help them choose life. Jeanne Mancini, president of the March for Life, joins us now to explain the future of the movement and what steps are being taken to help build a culture of life. Jeanne, it's great to have you back on with us. Everyone who is pro-life, who read the draft opinion, is hopeful the court will go all the way, overturning Roe and Casey. What does this mean for you, for the March for Life?
Well, Montse, like you, it's just a breathtaking moment, and we hope and pray that the court does indeed adopt the opinion as it was leaked, and just for the safety of the justices. Of course, last night we heard that there are some extremists on the other side that are doxing their addresses, their home addresses. So, gosh, so much at stake here. But on the very, very positive side, what does this mean? It means that we could be at the very end of the beginning, to quote Churchill. And so we'd be, please, 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 God, moving into chapter 2, which would mean, as you mentioned, Montse, more service to mothers and babies in need. And of course, fighting the battles in the states with increased fervor.
Well, let's get into the details of that. You recently launched your state-level initiatives, and you've already been working under a post-Roe framework, really. What does that look like?
That's right. 5 years ago, Montse, we marched in Virginia. That was our first state march, our first official state march. And just a week ago, we had our 4th annual Virginia March for Life. We've had, this year, we'll have our 2nd in California, our 2nd in Pennsylvania, and then our first was in Connecticut about a month and a half ago, and then we'll be in Ohio in October. So our plan is in the next 5 years to be in all 50 states. We know that the importance of rallying the grassroots at the level of the states cannot be underestimated at the historical moment that we're in right now. And the states will have so much more control over limiting abortion and protecting life. And so getting the pro-life movement together in this kind of way is going to be all the more important.
So gathering at a local level, what do you think is necessary then for those who believe in life to advocate for? Is the priority universal health care for mothers, better maternity leave policies, family support? What's the number one thing you're looking for?
All of the above. I think initially, it's buoying whatever we can do, buoying up our pregnancy care movement and maternity home movement, because they're being inundated with requests right now. So we know that collectively this movement provides over $270 million in free resources for men and women facing unexpected pregnancies every year. But Montse, that's up from just over $100 million about 5 years ago.
Wow.
So and we need to increase that number of resources and increase even the volunteer army to help these men and women facing unexpected pregnancies. Because if this does go as we're hoping, that would mean as many as 400,000 less abortions every single year, 400,000 lives being saved every single year at the states. And so we need to show up and support.
So you're not only doing the right advocacy in terms of pushing for the law to reflect a pro-life sentiment, but also getting the boots on the ground and waking people up to the reality that they are also responsible for their community. Jeanne.
Absolutely. And as we know, the boots have been on the ground. I mean, this is the untold story of the pro-life movement, is helping people facing an unexpected pregnancy, but we need to increase the strength of that and continue to give all sorts of good resources so that women and men facing unexpected pregnancies will have the supports that they need to choose life.
Exactly. The next frontier, though, is really medical abortions. This is something that you saw increase during COVID. Pills delivered into the homes of people through the mail without any medical consultation. What can we do to support women who might be bullied to abort in secret in this way?
Well, partially, I think getting the word out. So prior to my time working with the March for Life, I was very blessed to work at Family Research Council and do a lot of analysis on this specifically. And even the way that chemical abortion was approved was rushed, politicized, flawed under the pro-life Bush administration, sadly. But chemical abortion is much harder on women's health than surgical abortion. And we know that in any abortion, it also takes the life of the baby. But women face as many as like 4 times the complications that they would with surgical abortion. And, even pro-choicers will admit that it's terribly hard. I mean, the woman herself becomes the abortionist and she sees the baby pass. I know that these are really hard things to contemplate, but to just get the word out there that this is not like taking an aspirin. This is not good for women's health. It's obviously not good for the babies, but we're in a whole new frontier. And so as we're being creative about different kinds of policies, I would say first and foremost, we need to do our part educating people about how dangerous chemical abortion is.
Well, that's definitely part of what you're doing, and we're grateful for it, educating everyone, not just on the consequences of this, but many other parts of the pro-life movement. Thank you, Jeanne.
Thank you, Montse.
EWTN News In Depth has covered multiple Supreme Court abortion cases and, as we mentioned, ran a 6-part series on what several states could do should Roe v. Wade be overturned. Take a look at the EWTN YouTube page to watch this series and get a greater understanding of the political impact of abortion laws across the United States.